welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome if you are new here. If you're interested in bookish topics, I read a lot of historical fiction, literary fiction, a little romance, and a few thrillers thrown in every now and then. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you here on my channel. And if you are returning, I see you. Thank you so much for coming back and joining me once again. So this is a new segment that I'm starting on my channel because I decided not to do monthly wrap-ups or TBRs anymore, to be organic and authentic on my channel. And so I kind of want to just read based on how I'm feeling more intuitively. As of filming this video, I'm not sure what I'm going to name the segment. Something bookish related, whether that be the books that I've read, books that I DNF'd, how I'm feeling about my reading, things that I just want to come and talk about. And so this is the first video in that series, and so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I did post a previous video showing you all the books that I did complete in April, which were only 2 books. I was in a book slump for the majority of the month, and I just was not in the mood to read because I did force myself to read both of these books. So I'm not gonna talk much about this book. I kind of mentioned it in that previous video. I will say this is a biography of Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde, I have read one of her pieces of work, which I really did like, the Cancer Journals. But this is more getting to know her. So she goes over her childhood, coming of age into herself. This book does have a lot of triggers, and because there were some points about this book that made me uncomfortable, I found out that a mythography is when you weave in myth or fantasy with true facts. And some of what Audre was fantasizing about and talked about were disturbing, and yeah, it was a turn off. But because this was the book club pick, I pushed through because I thought I wanted to discuss it. But then when I got to the last chapter, I was just so over it. I was like, I'm not going to attend the book club because I don't feel like talking about this book. I wanted to be truthful about my feelings about this book, and I wasn't quite sure if I could do that, being that, you know, I didn't know the women. This was my first meeting with the book club. And so some of the triggers are rape, suicide, child abuse, incest. It just wasn't for me, and that is okay. This was not for me. And then the last book that I read for April was Salvage the Bones by Jasmine Ward. This was my first novel by Jasmine. I did read her memoir. I talked a little bit about this book too in that previous video, so I'm not going to go into, you know, a lot of details. But this takes place in Bois Sauvage, Mississippi. I did say Louisiana in the previous video, but it's actually Mississippi. I believe it's a made-up town, and it follows a family of mostly men and one girl. The girl is named Esh, and she's narrating the story. As we're following their regular life, they're dealing with a lot of things like poverty, an absent father, dealing with lack of nurture, of course, that goes with an absent father, and the mother not being there, being gone in the midst of this impending hurricane. So in the beginning of the story, we see them preparing for the hurricane. We follow mostly the children. Esh in the story, she does have a storyline. It does say on the back of the book, it does reveal that she learns that she's pregnant. The book, the way it's broken up in chapters, it's broken up leading to the 12 days of the storm, before the storm hits. The 12th day was when the action started for me, as far as the hurricane, where they were trying to survive through the floods, and the town was destroyed or whatever. But this book just did not give what I wanted it to give. It focused too heavy on the brother Skeeta and his pit bull. Skeeta was very attached to his pit bull, and he did love his pit bull. However, he did fight his pit bull at the same time. Skeeta was looking for love, someone to love him back. And his dog did that for him. But in the same breath, he was fighting the pit bull. So I will say that this book was beautifully written. I definitely see the similarities from her memoir to this book. as I thought would be the case because of how she wrote that book. Initially going in, because she wrote her memoir as a narrative, for some reason going into this book, I saw Jasmine as Esh initially, and then I had to break my mind out of that and say, this is not Jasmine's story, this is Esh's story. The book was beautifully, brilliantly written. You do have to concentrate when you're reading. This is only like book number 2, but my first novel. This is a literary fiction piece. You do have to concentrate, because if you don't concentrate, you will get lost, because she uses a lot of metaphors. She's very descriptive, a lot of similes. The book is quite deep, I would say. So this is not one that you can just read that's plainly written. No, you have to kind of think a little deeper. I initially said I was going to rate this a 3, but thinking about it, I'm going to give it a 3.25. This book, National Book Award. I know. That's why I feel so bad. I'm not saying this was a horrible book. I just did not enjoy the pit bull story taking up most of the book, and the dog fighting, harming of dogs was just a bit too much. Animals was just too much for me. And so because of the beautiful writing, I did bump it up to a 3.25. But these are just my opinions. If you love this book and you saw more out of it, that is great for you. I'm so happy for you. But for me, it just did not give all I was looking for it to give. It kind of left Esh's pregnancy in the air, and then the hurricane came at the very end of the chapter, and it just, to me, just did not wrap itself up nicely. Anyway, that is Salvage the Bones. Also this month, I do want to mention this because not only am I reading fiction, nonfiction about African American history, which I absolutely love, historical fiction, my favorite genre. I am a Christian and I do read a lot of self-help. I also have some self-help books as well in the Christian domain. So this is one called Praying with Purpose, a 28-day journey to empower prayer life. And I'm going to mention this because I know this is not everybody's cup of tea, but I do try to pray every day, but I wanted to make sure that I'm being intentional. While there's no correct way to pray, there is, some things that I just want to do better when I do come to God about all my troubles in this world, right? And so I did not get through the whole book, but I'm still working on it. I'm on page 121, actually. A pretty quick, short read. So that's Praying with Purpose, and I didn't say the author, by Stephen Nelson Rummage. So the next thing that I want to talk about is a book that I just could not get into, and I did DNF, okay? So this is The Honey Tree by Joe Sparks. I did show this book in a book haul. I also showed this book in last month's TBR video, last month, because now it's May, saying that this was the one that I wanted to read in terms of historical fiction. Now, I didn't look up the author before I bought this book. I just read the back of the book and it sounded good, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna get this book. So I tried, y'all. I got into maybe 5 or 6 pages, and y'all, I just could not get into it. And then once I couldn't get into it, because I've never heard of this author, I went on a hunt to find out. Now, I'm not saying that if you're not Black that you can't write Black stories. However, I learned that the author is not Black. And when I was reading this book, there was just a disconnect. Something about the writing was just off to me. I don't know if it was just me or what, but the story sounds wonderful, and I just couldn't get into it. And I had only read 5 pages. And I know you probably say, well, 5 pages is not enough to know if you will like a book. Yeah, but when I pick up a book and the book is not doing something for me, I just don't feel a connection. Yeah, I gotta put the book down. Like, unlike Salvage the Bones or even Zamie, A New Spelling of My Name, when I initially started reading those 2 books, there was a connection. I didn't see any issues with the writing, the way it was written, but there's something about how this was written that just did not do it for me. And I don't know if I'm going to give this another chance. I want to, because I my coins, I want to. So we'll see what I do with this. And then there's this book called Night Crawling by Leila Motley. I want to say that my mind probably was wandering and really not into the story. I want to say it's me. I want to say that it's me with this book and not the book, because I couldn't get into this book too. But because I had just gotten off of reading this, I was in a book slump, and so my head was not in it, and there was no connection here either. I was reading the words on the page, but nothing was sticking. I was having to go back and rereading, and who wants to do that? Who wants to do that when they're reading, you know? So this is a library book, and I probably will take it back. But I heard good things about this book, but for some reason, you know, I was in a book slump. That's the reason I couldn't get into it. So this was renewed. So I may hold on to this for just a few days longer to see if I want to pick it up. But I'm kind of turned off now, so I probably feel like I should just return it back to the library and then try again some other time. I also want to mention that I am on a book buying ban. I announced that a month ago, and in the month of April, I'm so happy to say, yes, that I made it, okay? I made it. I did not buy any books. So it's been over 21 days, and you know it takes 21 days to form a habit, and I'm so proud to say that my habit of buying books has been drastically decreased. And so I also said that to keep myself accountable, because one of my goals is to pay off my student loan by the end of the year, or get it down to $5,000. And rapidly, by the time 2006 rolls around, we're gonna have that bad boy hopefully paid by March. We'll see, but I'm really trying to pay it off by the end of the year. The amount of money that I would have spent on books that I sporadically saw on other people's channels, I went on Amazon just to check out, to see how much the book was. I still put it on my list, my wish list. And then at the end of the month, I tallied all of what the books would have cost and tacked that onto my already extra payment. And so that payment, I'm just going to, or that amount came to, I'm going to round it up to $74. And I added $74 to my end of the month extra payment. That's what I did, and so I'm happy about that. I'm just really focused on really reading. I know we all say this, but really just focusing on reading the books that I have, because I have some great books, but I'm never going to get around to them if I continuously buy books, because they're gonna just go to the back burner again, okay? They're already on the back burner. I'm just happy, and it's going to continue until June. I am still allowing myself to buy ebooks, but I haven't even bought an ebook. So yeah, that's the update with the book buying ban. Everything's going well. Y'all have not tempted me one time. There's this one book that I said that I wasn't interested in reading. I DNF'd it actually back in, it was a couple months ago. It's called Hours, but they recently released it in paperback form. And that was one of the books that I put on my wish list, because the book was interesting. The premise was interesting, but the fantasy, magical realism plot was just too thick for me. But now I think I could tackle it if I had a paperback, because it was something about that hardback that just made things even more difficult. Anyway, so I may or may not purchase that after the book buying ban is over, because I don't want to read that thick book in a hardback form. I really do prefer paperbacks. So I think that's about it that I wanted to tell you guys about. Let me show you the book that I am reading for my book club. It's a thick one, and so I'm really glad that I'm going back to the old way of doing things, where I'm just reading intuitively, picking up books based on my feelings, not really having a contrived list. This one is going to be read for the month of May, because it's in the book club, and I'm not going to repeat the same mistakes that I did this last month. If I don't like the book, then y'all, I might have to drop out. It's not one of those book clubs where I'm mandated to be present, but I do want people to know my face. I do want to meet some friends who also read. So I really do hope it works. But if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. I'll just have to find another book club. But never read N.K. Jemisin. This is How Long Till Black Future Month. She is a Black fantasy author. And so I know that this is going to be a challenge. And actually, since we meet in such a short period of time, next Wednesday, we only have 2 weeks, usually 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the month to get the book read, because they meet the second Wednesday of the month. And so it's going to be next Wednesday. So I got to start this one. Soon. But we'll see. If I don't like it, then I'm okay with DNF in the book. And so I'm currently reading Belle. I am doing a 24-hour reading vlog, and you will see me read this book. This video is going to come out before my 24-hour reading blog or vlog. I'm not going to say I'm struggling, because I'm doing it organically and naturally. And if it takes me forever to read for 24 hours, not straight, but just accumulating 24 hours of reading time, it just does, because, you know, life still has to happen, right? Life has to happen. But I'm enjoying this already. I read Josephine by Beverly Jenkins in January. I enjoyed that. And this is a interconnected story with Josephine. Belle is. And so loving it. It's about young love, young romance, innocence. Her characters, especially her female characters, tend to be very strong-willed, eager to do well and succeed. They're usually business-minded. They're smart, brilliant. They're just bosses. That's how she seems to write her female Black characters. And so, y'all, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for joining me for this first little segment. Let me know anything you want to let me know down in the comment section down below while I'm losing my voice. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.